At Charing Cross, a woman buys a bog standard from the man at a kiosk, smiles but doesn't meet his eyes. I'm drinking tea in a plastic cup from the station cafe. The guy standing to my left under the departures board is talking on his portable phone about cars or something. XCBS MD XGS 4.2 160 watt B&O stereo, 12k. He ought to buy it, he thinks. I think so too, as long as he drives it away now, far away. He has stars on his shirt and a pair of jeans. Casual money. I'm waiting for Daniel to come off the train from the south, sitting on the floor like some dropout, although the real thing's still on the train. The van's tax had run out or something. He didn't like driving it so much after he got a speeding fine through the post anyway. The police had sent him a 20 quid fine and a photograph of the van going down some road with the speed printed on it in terminating numbers from one of those speed camera things. I dared him to send him a photograph of a 20 quid note for a laugh, and he did. We laughed until the police sent back a photograph of some handcuffs. The actress plays Kelly Monteith's wife keeps walking by. I'm pretty sure she doesn't like me, but she keeps walking by. She drops her eyes even though she didn't meet my glance, like she knows people are going to look at her. Two old women look again, consult and wander off after her to agree. She's in a black skirt and a blue and white polka dot blouse. It's 5 o'clock or something. People mill about, do that railway station stuff, briefcases, work shoes, death. Maybe that last one's me. People come up the stairs from the tube, stride toward their platform, there till the train leaves at least. Others stand gaping upwards at the departure boards like dogs looking at food on a high counter, mouths open, hopeful. I want to slap them under the chin and hear that clop sound as their mouth shuts. No, I don't. I went outside and sat on this cement stuff outside, still waiting for Daniel, reading some Henry Miller book. I'm sitting on the wall by the taxis next to an oldish white man with an orthopaedic walking stick. A filthy old woman comes up to him and asks for something, a cigarette, but he won't give her one. Over the lip of my book, I see her feet move over to point her toes at mine. She mumbles thick accent Scots. I ask her if she wants a cigarette. I give her one of my 2 Marlboros I found in Dan's room earlier. She sits down next to me and asks me for money for chips. I give her £1.20, all my cash. What the hell? I'm buying my karma on the drip again. When she asks me if she can sit with me a while, I say I'm reading my book. She says I'm disturbing you. She has to say it twice. She rolls off the wall, tells the guy with the stick he's sitting next to a gentleman. This sitting around looking at the words Henry Miller found in a thesaurus and put into sentences just to keep himself interested wasn't interesting me. I went through one of those times when you think you're reading but later you can't remember a thing about the last few paragraphs because your mind's been wandering. I did this between the pages of roughly 0 and whenever. I was doing it again. I couldn't concentrate on what was right in front of me. I was looking right through the page, right through the skin and bones of my hand, right through the qualities, right through the thought of them. I felt a bit dizzy and a bit sick. I was thinking Daniel wasn't here, he was somewhere else, but which one counted? I wondered if he really was somewhere else or if he just existed when he bothered to turn up. And if he didn't exist, did that mean I created him when he did appear and so created the lack of him when he didn't? His absence hung over me like a death knell hanging in the air. I had managed to make myself responsible for Daniel not turning up. Brilliant. I didn't know whether to cry or weep. As sexus, plexus or whatever nexus swirled around in front of me like the contents of a dictionary in random order, I began to imagine that I never really knew Daniel at all. I just knew his presence, his appearance. He was always in some context, my company or not my company, I suppose. I mean, when I think of him doing something, being something. Well, being something I could see him doing, I suppose. Without context, I could imagine or recognise no Dan. Daniel himself has no form, especially when he's not there. His objective existence was a matter of conjecture, and not just for the banking industry. But perhaps I should be a bit more positive. It says here on my mantra calendar. I had expected him positive. He was somewhere. Positive. But not here, the twat. No, you see, that's all negative again. It's when you compare expectation with reality that negation occurs. But if you think like this, you'll never get through the Colossus of Marusi, I can tell you. What I learned from this after years and years, year after year, is that it really is my fault for expecting him to be different, and this is a form of positive thinking. Or self-flagellation, can't tell. Try not to drift off here, but Parmenides, not the cheese, the philosopher, says everything is positive. Everything that exists is, which is a positive. It cannot change, because changing means it was something else, which it now isn't, which would be negative. So me hoping he might actually turn up against all the odds would be negative. As my eyes gradually rolled up into my head, I understood that optimism is negation if you apply it to a situation you wish was better. As my eyes gradually rolled up into my head, I understood that optimism is negation if you apply it to a situation that you wish was better. I took out my notebook. This needed recording. I was at the stage where everything I thought I was the first person who ever thought it, so I thought I'd write it down so other people could think it too. I'd write down my impressions, description of what I saw, stuff that happened, colours on my palette for painting by numbers. Sometimes I didn't have anything to say, so I just opened the page and wrote notes. The church bell in St. Martin's over the road rang. Just for a second, the jangling arranged itself into the melody of a football chant. You don't know what you're doing. And just as suddenly lapsed back into random clanging. I went inside, looked for a phone somewhere amongst the other amenities vital to 20th century shitso man. There's some shops in the station. Guess what they look like for yourself. Lard King, cardboard sandwich bar, carbo kiosk. A big tie rack is dumped in the middle of the concourse, just in case you need an emergency cravat one morning arriving hot-foot and open-necked from Sevenoaks. Stairs lead down to the gents for more pressing problems. People come through here every day of their working lives. How many times can you choose between eating shit, paying to piss, or getting another tie? I call Helena's house in the south. The phone rings in the hall downstairs. Phone rings and rings. Then she answers, just a squeak, so I know it's her. Helena? Is Daniel there? She puts the phone on the table. I hear her scuttle back up the stairs to her room. I can hear her calling his name. I hang up.